It's common to seek fairness in marriage. We hope to carry equal amounts of stress in our parenting and our work responsibilities too. But my next guest says that although fairness might seem like the thing we want the most, what we really want in marriage is togetherness. Studio 5 relationship contributor Dr. Matt Townsend is joining me. Great to see you.
Good to be here,
So
Britt.
explain this idea more. Can a sense of togetherness really replace that desire for fairness?
Well, like, we are totally willing to go out of our way to do more for another person that we love, even for the family. We'll really bust a gut until you're the only one busting the gut and we're not on the same page. And how come I'm the only one that's sitting here making dinner, cleaning up dinner when everyone else is watching TV? So what I think, and the more I've talked to clients about it, they cry fairness. But by the way, fairness is a word we learned when we were about 5. And so when we didn't have much of a vocabulary. And so now we might notice that when we actually get into what you really want about the fairness and you go deeper, it's really, I want to be together. I want people to help. I want us to be on the same page. I want to be going the same direction. But when we cry fairness, then it also justifies a lot of weird behaviors. Because if all I care about is fairness, then I'm going to start keeping score. And just the idea of fairness is more scorekeeping, but the idea of togetherness is more, I'm willing to sacrifice if we're all in this together.
You described that so well. I can
Powerful,
almost feel women like nodding along.
Yes, sir.
You have 5 things couples can do to turn that lack of fairness or that feeling of lack of fairness in the relationship into more togetherness. First, accept that life will never be fair. We hear that.
Now,
I say that.
But I'm even saying accept it.
Okay.
Life isn't going to be fair. Now watch this though. But we're better in this unfair life if we attack it together. So it's not going to be fair. It never will. And here's the sad, true reality. In the end of all of our lives, one partner will end up carrying an undue burden. Right? As one's fading, one will do more work, right? So because it's not going to be fair, let's just accept it won't be, but we are in it together. All the way to the end, we're going to work together, we're going to go deeper, we're going to be one in this crazy, unfair thing we call life.
And it's so interesting how, I say this all the time to my 7-year-old, my 6-year-old, my 4-year-old, but it can be hard to accept, even in a mature perspective.
Even in the Zion's retreat, we got into this fairness topic, and it blew up. And everybody, like, it should be fair. It should be fair. But like, the hard part about fair is fair how? Fair financially? Fair time? Should we all equally bring the exact same amount of money to the family? Should it be disproportionate? Is it time? Is it energy? Should we have to use our talents fairly? And then how do you judge fair? So when we get into this, it's a really weird word to try to equalize.
Yeah, to articulate.
Yeah, but we're okay if it's unfair, if we're all trying to do together.
As we try to lean into that togetherness, you say we can start by assessing our strengths and using those to forge that connection.
And this is a scary idea, but what if we sat down and said with our partner, for 1 week, let's try to document as many things about the other. Let's take an inventory about what I think I see you bringing to the family. And for 1 week, I'm going to look for everything I can possibly find that you're bringing and adding value.
The big, the little, the in-betweens.
And the things that are meaningful, the things that move me, the things that are exciting. And if I were you, I'd make the longest list you can.
Okay.
And each of you make a list, and then at the end of the week, sit down and let's share our lists. Try to show your partner that I can see what you're bringing. So that when we end up talking about this stuff, it's not, well, what about you? What about me? And we're not arguing about if I think you value me, because I've got 500 things I think you do that are valuable. And if it's just an inventory. So we're going to start with what we're all bringing already.
Okay, and then we lead to strengths?
Then we're going to go to our strengths. People are way more motivated to talk and to work when they're working from strength. So sit down and say, I think you're really amazing with the teens. I think you can whisper and talk to them and get more out of them than I can. So can we always make sure we're using your strength when we're trying to discipline the teens and invite them to share their strength in these situations. Invite them to share their humor. If one of you, by the way, is really good at making the schedule, make the schedule. That's your strength, right? If the other is good at actually motivating the kids to do it, then let's get that strength involved. And instead of beating each other down by what you're not bringing, let's identify clearly what your strengths are and what you do want to bring so that when we are 90, we can look back and say, we brought our strength.
I love that. And it won't feel fair.
That's right.
It won't feel equal, but it's not supposed to at the end of the day. That's partnership,
Powerful.
right?
Yeah.
You want us to identify and serve the deeper reasons why togetherness matters one to another.
We were at Zion's, and great moment. We were talking about an example of a husband that the wife asked him to help take the garbage out. He's a little ADD. in the middle of a big game, didn't hear that. I'd heard it, but didn't do it. Didn't do it, didn't do it, didn't do it. And then the cry was, that's not fair. So I sat this couple down after, and we were talking, and I said, what is it? What do you feel when your husband doesn't try to help, and he doesn't remember to help, and he doesn't know to help? What do you feel? And she stopped, and she said, I feel unloved, I feel abandoned, I feel alone, I feel used, and I feel ignored.
Which those are big feelings for something as simple as taking out a garbage. But
and it's not even fair. But
that's how it's internalized.
Then I asked her, what's your earliest memory of feeling those things? And she was the youngest child of a big family. And she said, I was 8 years old and nobody was paying attention. Nobody noticed I didn't have food. Nobody noticed I hadn't eaten. And I felt that feeling. And for the first time, this guy was hearing, when you ignore me that way, I turn into my 8-year-old and I feel unloved, uncared for, unwatched. And then I just asked, do you care? And he says, I totally care. What would you do as an adult to go help meet that need to that little girl? He said, I'd go hug her, I'd take care of her, and I'd watch her every single day for the rest of my life.
That's powerful.
And they're both sobbing.
Yeah.
And we've now solved the problem. All this woman needs is that. She doesn't need the garbage. She just needs to know that you're going to turn.
I feel like I'm going to sob. That's super sweet. That's super sweet. You want us to build togetherness by seeing your partner's everyday contributions.
Instead of trying to keep finding the criticism, start identifying every day 3 things a day that your partner brought that made you feel loved. I call it the T-chart. You write on your side, he writes on his side. We talk about what we're bringing, and now we're starting to accumulate this abundant kind of life and this abundant amount of times that we're together and serving each other. It's the positive approach instead of kind of the depreciative approach to making our togetherness work.
I imagine that won't just soothe your soul or make you feel better, but when we see positive, when you're seen in a positive way, it motivates you to show up in a more positive.
You also are looking for it, and when you're looking for it, you're going to find it. So when you start looking for the things that are working, amazingly, you'll find more.
I loved this.
Powerful.
Great topic, great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
Before we say goodbye, you've got a 10-day kind of marriage makeover program.
We go in and we have you take an assessment, 50-point assessment, and based on the assessment, we then teach you how to reverse the spiral that we all fall into of selfishness and reactivity and polarization and negativity. So it's, go to matttownsend.com. What's it called? The 10-day marriage makeover. It used to be called the 2-hour marriage makeover in my date night, but now it's the 10-day marriage makeover. Sign up, get going, and we'll reverse that spiral.
And this feedback on this program is really
pretty
good.
Awesome.
You're hearing from couples already. That daily drip is so helpful. We'll link you over to his website from ours if you want to click over, take that assessment, and get going. Thanks, Matt, so much.
Thanks, Brooklyn.